Public advocate, how are you, sir?
Peace and blessing, love and light. I am individually doing not too bad in an increasingly crazy world.
Yeah. And just to go down memory lane. First time we had this conversation was you were a newly elected council member.
Oh,
The part of that 09 wave back in the day.
it's a long time. I can't believe we're
yeah. You came out and you won the seat. I mean, it was a wave. You, Brad. I mean, no, but it's interesting. A good group of folks that have gone on to bigger and better things on the WFP line. Danny Drum, yourself, Melissa,
a lot of folks. Yeah, there's a lot of folks. It was a real nice wave. I actually one of the people that took out an incumbent, and that a change. And again, like I said, I'm always stunned. I and you and we're all OGs now. The difference is I actually hit my bed every once in a while, so that I thought I was ready. So I keep fighting.
Well, look, Pierre, let me start with you. You were housing chair. You were housing chair in the city council.
I was.
Let's start with this referendum charters, right? This argument that housing isn't being built because of the city council. And you have a vote. I mean, you oversee the council based on the city charter. But in addition to that, you were the housing chair in the city council. How do you feel about that?
Well, I want to clarify. I don't have a vote, and I used to. The public advocate used to be the one presiding, but it was
That's right. I'm sorry, Miss. Correct. Yes.
Yeah, but the public advocate doesn't do it anymore. It was actually ceremonial. So you're presiding, but you didn't really have. No, the speaker has ultimate control over the body, which is the way it should. As a housing chair, I'll tell you one thing. Just to put it in context, when I was running for speaker, I'm always the odd dude out. I actually was saying that member deference was a problem. So that's not the thing you do when you run for speaker. And I remember on the panel of us who were saying a lot of people agreed with me, they got some immediate backlash, and I was like the only person standing left who said that it was a problem. So I want to say that, and I say that because member deference shouldn't be taken away. There's a lot of validity to it. But there are times when the member deference impacts the greater city. And so we have to find a balance of when is the time that we have to find a way the member deference doesn't stop what's going on with the city. I think there's, and I'm sorry, I don't have on the back of my head, but there's one of the ballot measures that I believe I support. The rest of them, I don't. And I think that they haven't found that balance. They are correct. We're not building enough housing, and some of that is the NIMBY. And so we have to find a way, and it shouldn't be a low bar to help move it past, even if there's some local problems. Local support is not where it needs to be. But I don't think these ballot measures as a whole, unfortunately, get that balance right. I made some recommendations that I think would have accomplished what they want to accomplish, but not make it as easy to override. I think the bar was too low. And so I'm concerned about it, except for one that I can't recollect right now that I think I'll support, but the rest of them, more than likely, the bar is too low to override the duly elected council. But it's correct. We definitely are not getting as much housing as we need.
Public advocate, I want to hear your thoughts on Mayor Adams deciding not to continue running for mayor. And here's why. I want to just sort of give initially when he became mayor. I mean, it's undisputable. You guys had some policy disagreements, but the relationship was cordial. It was a working relationship, and then at some point, it sort of went south. Speak to that, and what are your thoughts on him deciding not to run? And what do you think set it off, right? The sort of adversarial conversation where I know for a fact that you initially, were willing to come, meet somewhere in the middle, have your disagreements, have them, disagree without being disagreeable. And at some point it became just a contentious, back and forth. What do you think set that off? And what are your thoughts on the mayor, deciding that he's no longer interested in continuing for a second term?
So one, I think it was the right decision. I think it'd even be better for everyone if he decided right now that maybe it was time to just let the city move on, even not waiting for the next couple months. I'm not into gratuitous violence, so I'm going to answer this question knowing that he's already made the decision. If he hadn't made that decision, I would have answered it and even more, probably a little bit more energy in my voice, let's say. But I don't want to do gratuitous violence. Listen, this has been hard to watch. I'm a black man who's a citywide elected official. He's a black man who's an even more powerful citywide elected official. It was difficult to watch. To answer your question, definitely came in with a relationship, and relationship is also, based on some mutual respect. And there were some policy disagreements, but there were a lot of policy agreements. And even where there was agreement, there seemed to be a change in the direction of what he was believing at any moment in time, particularly around public safety and how we keep this community safe. The things that we agreed on just weren't getting done. And it was actually becoming worse in terms of moving backwards on some things. The lack of transparency and accountability. I think was also a little frustrating was the seemingly inability to self-reflect and say, hey, this is where I made a mistake. This is where I can course correct. That just didn't seem to happen. And as much grace as was given, seemed to always want additional grace. I think the alliance with Trump really might have been the straw as we're trying to be protective of our New Yorkers, and that the alliance with Trump was not about that. So it was difficult to watch and see happen. Of course, you saw the scandal stuff that occurred with the federal indictments, and I've repeatedly said I'm not an attorney. I don't know legal, not legal. Everyone deserves their day in court. That's not what happened, but that's a different story. The only thing I could say about that was that I knew at minimum there seemed to be a series of bad decisions that happened over a long time period. I can't tell you if that rose to the level of federal indictment or not, but it seems to be a series of bad decisions, and there didn't seem to be a want to try to correct that. So I think for everyone, it's I think it's just time to turn a page on the administration.
Public advocate, talk a little bit about the Democratic Party and the unity or lack thereof. It's rare. This is an anomaly. Usually what happens is someone wins the Democratic nomination and the party apparatus and the folks that make the decisions and senior members endorse the Democratic nominee. What are your thoughts on what's happening from
this one?
Minority Leader Jeffries to Senator Schumer to even the Democratic chair, right, Jay Jacobs?
I'm gonna keep all my energy for this one because if you want to know what's going on with the Democratic Party, just in general, you should read the terrible statement that Jay Jacobs put out that he wasn't supporting Zohran Mamdani even after the governor said that she was. I think it's disgraceful what this party is doing, what Jay did and has done in the past. This is the second time that I know of where the party is not supporting the nominee. That happened to India Walton in Buffalo when she beat an incumbent during the primary. And it is frustrating because they're the ones that set the rules. Like for 15 years, me, I've kind of tried to, just push through certain things. And I always hear about party unity. This is the way we do it and blah, blah, blah. And then you have people that follow the rules that they set forward, not folks like me, but themselves. And then they don't support them. We are in this position, I believe, in this country because of Democratic leadership. Republicans did what they were supposed to do. White supremacists did what they were supposed to do. I think it was Democrats who did not show the leadership they were supposed to in trying to really just worry about incumbency protection, trying to worry about their own millionaires and billionaires and their own power structure. And everyone who pushed against that, they always tried to push aside. And I believe that it was those type of leaders across the country that made decisions that allowed the wealthy people to grab control of the affordability conversation. That makes no sense. You have wealthy people that are telling people about the affordability crisis that they're feeling, and allowing themselves to tell folks that you're going through this, not because I'm wealthy and benefited from you not having healthcare and no housing, but because of these other people over here. And I believe that was a lack of democratic leadership from my party. And we have a time now to learn lessons and reset, to learn from someone like Mamdani. I can't say that it's replicable all across the country because all across the country is not New York City. But we can learn how he messaged what he messaged, how he got so many folks involved. Affordability, public safety has always been two of the biggest things that I've heard people talk about. And we shy away from public safety in a way that we should not, because I think we have the better answers. Lastly, to drive that point home, in 2008, I think people across this country who probably don't own a black toothbrush voted for Barack Obama. And they were very clear that they wanted something different. Some of those same people voted for Donald Trump. People here in New York City voted for Donald Trump, some people, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They have been saying they don't want the same messenger and the same message. The party I belong to, the leaders have decided to try to shove the same message and the same messenger to the people of this country time and time again. And I believe that's why we're in the situation we're in. So I really hope people will make the decision to just get behind the Democratic nominee in the type of way that they have told many people to do in the past.
Public advocate. Now let's talk about the month left in the race and talk about a former governor Cuomo. And obviously the polls have demonstrated that even with Mayor Adams not being in the race, the numbers, I mean, it's a couple of percentage points. Why do you think the doggedness in the former governor? Do you think this is ego at this point? What does it mean? And I want you to speak to that because I know you've run statewide in the past. There's a history there. There's a history with the former governor and the WFP. What do you think this is about at the end of the day?
So at this point, I thank God for the egos of men, because at that, the egos of men have really helped Mamdani show that he's actually most concerned about New York City over just himself. And that is not the case, I believe, with some of the other people who were running, including Andrew Cuomo. I think Andrew Cuomo was in shock. I mean, he came in like everybody thought he was just the mayor by being in. So I can't imagine from his point of view being beaten by a 33-year-old Democratic socialist is like the furthest thing he could have even imagined. You know, when I ran for a lieutenant governor, particularly because of the things that not only Cuomo was doing, but people around him were enabling him to do. And then I ran for governor. I actually wanted to run against him. I ended up having to run against the first woman governor, which is a very daunting experience, but I did it anyway. When you talk about the type of Democratic leadership that has brought us here, people like Cuomo are case in point. And the affordability problems that we're having, many of the issues that we're talking about in terms of housing, he has made worse, literally. I think that he has helped New Yorkers sometimes as an aside to what's best for him. So he'll do what's best for him, and if it helps New York, it's great. If it doesn't, what's best for him is kind of what's going to happen. And so I think he's just laser focused. This was his way to be back in. I think, quite honestly, in his mind, he was just president of the United States already, and this was just a easy layup to get to that. And you know, thankfully, New York City is rejecting that type of leadership and looking for the future, which I think is Zohran Mamdani. So, I mean, it's painful to watch Democratic leaders often try to mimic, or sometimes try to be Republican light. And I think people who want Republicans, they don't want Republican light. They want Republicans. And Democrats, if we would just stick to the things that we say we believe and push those things, we would be okay. But, you know, people, you know, the man cut, you know, mental health beds. He was trying to cut Medicaid in the middle of the pandemic. He caucused, he set up a system where Republicans would have more power than they needed to, allowing folks to caucus from, you know, Democrats caucusing with Republicans, which he enjoyed because it gave him some additional leverage to do some terrible things. And one of the things he tried to say is how great of a manager he is, a fiscal manager, and even getting us through COVID. And those things in my mind, when I watched what happened during COVID, I believed it too until that moment. And, you know, he made people feel comfortable, including my own family, who were very mad at me after Cuomo. And I would say, you know, in between those awesome press conferences, there were things happening that were harming people. And unfortunately, turned out to be correct. Even with his fiscal prowess, all he did was force municipalities across the state. You know, having run statewide, I get to see things and understand things in a different way. But he forced municipalities to cut their budget and then acted like a budget genius when all he did was cause pain in those municipalities who had to cut their services. So it's not a type of leadership I think we need in New York City right now.
So, Public Advocate, you recently arrested in immigration court. Talk a little bit what's happening on the ground and to the larger conversation around Trump. He's actually saying he's doing what he said he would do. And what are your thoughts on that? And what's the strategy? Understanding that he is the sitting president, and again, an arrest, and what's the strategy to sort of combat Trump and some of his policies?
You know, the truth of the matter is that, and I've said it before, is that we are in this position because too many of us drank the orange Kool-Aid. Too many of us who are not usually drinking that Kool-Aid, we drank it. We thought that it was just going to happen to other people. And so to hear communities talk about why they're supporting Donald Trump because of this other community, or why they're staying home because it doesn't matter anyway. Those things helped us get here. And I think those people at least are starting to realize that, oh, it is different. And he is, people thought we were exaggerating what was going to happen. We were exaggerating about authoritarianism. We were exaggerating about the type of people he'd be trying to kidnap in the streets and just taking our neighbors, and it's just going to be the criminals and this and that. Like, it's just, people thought we were exaggerating, and we were not, and we're seeing it happen in real time. And I think whether it's civil disobedience, whether it's taking risks and going to be present, those are the type of things we have to do. Those things don't work until they do. Doing nothing just makes it worse. And I remind folks, when we think of movements in the past in other countries or here in the civil rights, we read about, the leaders that made the history books, but there were tens and tens of thousands of people who never made those history books that helped push back. And without them, we wouldn't have gotten where we've gotten. Some people just made a sandwich for people. Some people just prayed with folks. Some people just showed up just to be present when things are going on. And that's the type of things that we need now. Everybody has to do what they can with what they have where they are. And we have to work hard to make sure that we get one of these houses in Congress so we can help provide some pushback on what clearly is a dictator wannabe, an authoritarian we're actually in an authoritarian regime right now, who's trying to entrench fascism into our system. And those are not exaggerations. And so, not the actual Nazis and white supremacists who are very happy about this, to the people who say they are not. My question is always, well, what do you need to see to believe that this man is trying to entrench authoritarianism and fascism? What do you need to see that this man is not actually about public safety and about working folks, as he's taking healthcare and food and housing away from people and giving it to wealthy folks, as he's not sending assistance to cities that need assistance in terms of services, but sending the military to these cities, whether or not there are crimes decreasing in those cities, as he's talking to the military across the world, telling them we have to practice and do exercise with our military in our cities. It's hard to say what else you would need to see to know that this is happening, but we're in history right now, and how everybody shows up it'll be how people read about this time period. I'm hoping they're reading about it as a thing of the past.
Public Advocate, what's the next thing for you?
I don't know.
Next? I know you've been, there was a time where you were mentioned mayor. Obviously you've run statewide. What's in the cards for you?
Well, I would tell you, I was honored that people were even talking to me about running for mayor. It wasn't something I actually had planned out. Always, if I was going to do it, I would have done it probably at this time. And what's strange about me is I'm never really playing chess. So, nobody runs against a sitting lieutenant governor in expectation that that's going to turn out well. It turned out pretty well for me, actually. They changed the laws because of myself and Antonio Delgado. It's the wildest thing in the world. Again, it just shows you how much they don't want different voices. And so people don't know I was able to run lieutenant governor the first time because they used to run separately. But now, because of my race, and especially because of Delgado right now, the governor made them in the budget change that so they run together. And it's also funny to me, people were so concerned about me Now you got to deal with Zohran Mamdani. That's like I said, I get to sit back and chuckle over that because the change is coming and you should just get along with it because the people are really fed up and we have to galvanize that. But to answer your question, I'm not sure. I actually thought I was finished after the lieutenant governor race. I was actually out of politics. And this is the first time I've ever been drafted to run for something. And so, we'll see. Right now, we have a job to do for the next 4 years. What I'm most excited about when we started in 09, I don't think we had enough people pushing the things that I wanted to push. So it was great to hang out with folks like Brad and Antonio Reynoso. But now there is a lot of people whose voices are pushing in the right direction. And it's been great to see that happen. And it's great to have been whatever part of that, encouraging these kind of voices, showing that you can do politics differently and be successful and be able to say we've passed more pieces of legislation than all the previous public advocates combined. Same kind of stuff when we were in the city council. We've gotten things accomplished, even doing it the way they said that we couldn't. Both Brad and I were told that we would not go very far because of the issues we were pushing. We both became citywide elected officials. So it's exciting to have been part of that. And it also helps take some things off your shoulder when you can look around. There's a lot more voices now. And we're going to get a mayor, I think, who's going to be awesome in Zohran Mamdani.
Public Ave, I want to wrap this up, but I want to do this lightning round. Proudest moment in office. It could be in city council, it could be as public advocate. The moment that you said, this is why I decided to sort of spend this time in doing this community work. What is the proudest moment for you?
Yeah, I got some tingles every time I think about it. There's a gentleman in Connecticut who ran and I get emotional a bit. He ran and won. He has Tourette's syndrome. He didn't think he could do it. He saw me. There you go. That's that right there. Like it's a pretty powerful moment.
lowest day where you said, it's tough. This is lowest day in elected office. And it doesn't have to be directly correlated, but just something that
I don't know about wow. I think it is the most disheartening when you realize that how hard it is just to do the right thing, the thing that everybody says is correct, and how cheaply people won't do it. And so that is something that always brings me down. And Brad actually laughs about it because it's something I can never just accept is okay. And it does keep me pushing. It is tiring. But I think it's something that it's hard to see because, this thing requires collective action, but incentivizes individual behavior. And it's always hard to be there.
Public advocate, let's have fun now. 3 greatest hip hop albums.
Oh, Jesus. I don't. So I was just doing this. I don't know if it's gonna be the greatest, but I was thinking about.
Yes, this is your opinion. This is just
no. But I can't do greatest. But I was thinking about press plays. Like you could just press play, and so like Nas's Illmatic is a press play. I think the College Dropout from Kanye is almost a press play, but it's pretty close to press play. That's the one he should have got the Grammy for. Obviously, Lauryn Hill. The Miseducation is a definite press play. I think Fugees is one too. People they'll sleep on that. And people don't say this a lot, but J. Cole's Born Sinner is almost it might be a press play type of joint, So I don't know if about his greatest, but the press play ones where you just press play, kick back and listen.
Three greatest MCs.
So I will do this. I think there's a Mount Rushmore that exists.
Okay.
I think it has Nas on it. I think it has Jay-Z on it. I think it has Rakim. It probably has KRS on it. Like those are just Mount Rushmores. The person I always think gets left out is Andre 3000. Like he should be on that Mount Rushmore. They don't put him in. I think they should. But I think you have like J. Cole's and Kendrick's. All right, Bob. And I'm gonna say something that Drake is an awesome lyricist. I wish he had used his powers in a different way, but he is a dope lyricist in terms of when you're thinking about those things. And so I would probably have put him there just for that reason. But I don't think Lauryn Hill gets her due as much as well. She didn't do as much as rap, But when she did, she killed it.
3 greatest New York City basketball players. They have to be from New York.
Oh man, the problem is, I mean, Michael Jordan from Brooklyn. So we can go there. Oh man, I need to wrap my head around it. We got Marbury. I don't know, but the thing is, I can't remember who was from New York or not. I know New York teams, but you don't want to count New York teams.
Okay, Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, well, who's from people from New York?
Dykeman Houses, yeah, it's from New York.
Oh hell yeah, there we go. That close out right there.
All right. I'm getting the hook. What? This is the last one. What advice would you give your 21-year-old self? And then we'll wrap.
I think to my 20-year-old self is one, your feelings are real, so you should acknowledge them. And two, you're actually living life. It's not something that's being planned while you're doing it. So you should just understand that the life is happening as you're speaking and as you're doing these things, and plan accordingly. And you really do have a lot more power than you think. And you should just, keep moving forward.
Public Advocate, thank you so much for doing this. And it's good to sort of do this again after so many years and see how you ascended up the political ladder. So all the best. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you. Peace.
Talk soon, man.